Check, check, 1 2 1 2. Left foot, right foot. I'm feeling super fresh and I'm feeling good.
Mic check, mic check. Body yaddy 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 yaddy. Body yaddy 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 yaddy. Body yaddy 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 yaddy. Is that enough?
Well, that's enough of that.
Okay.
What is going on, everybody, and welcome to episode 6 of Bona Fide Bullshit the podcast.
Buenos noches.
Oh, damn, you're hitting everybody with a buenos
I
noches?
just, we were watching Selena, and I just am feeling a little bit of it. You know what I mean?
A little bit of como la flor?
Como la flor.
Okay.
It's one of my faves,
Yeah.
by the way.
Yeah, it's funny that you say it's one of your faves because, like,
Do you think I come in hot all the time?
you come in really fucking hot
I
all
just
the time.
wanna get it going. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
You come in with singing the vocals.
Reel it
and
in.
you're like the Filipino Mariah Carey.
Prohibido murmuran por las calles.
Oh,
You see?
watch-
You didn't know I knew that, right?
Well, how come you didn't audition for
It's
the
not
Netflix?
professional. It's fine.
You should have auditioned for the Netflix special.
I don't have the accent down. You know what? I could have been a good Selena.
Here's
That's all I'm
here,
saying.
here's the crazy thing is that I don't know how long we were into our relationship that I found out that you were like one day like singing her shit.
We were going to Wisconsin Dells, and somehow we got to talking about it, and we have a video of it. That's like when we had your little, was it a flip cam or something like that?
Yeah, the old
And you
school flip
recorded
cam.
it.
Yeah,
It's somewhere.
yeah.
It's somewhere in the cloud.
It's somewhere. Oh, I think that's somewhere in the vault.
It's in the vault cloud.
Yeah, the vault means it's not online somewhere. It's sitting somewhere in like a box or a
Yeah,
cabinet or a
one
storage
of those,
or something.
Hard drives.
Yeah, the
What's
fun.
it
Well,
called?
no, yeah, because it's USB.
Floppy disk.
Floppy disk. Jesus Christ. Oh my God. You want to go play Oregon Trails?
No. I love everyone loves Oregon Trail, but anyways.
But so the funny thing is yeah, you start singing and I'm looking at you as we're driving and I'm like, you're singing everything in Spanish. I'm like, you know what you're saying? You're like, no. And I'm like, you used to listen to her?
A little, but
Well,
the main words.
yeah,
But
I'm saying-
overall, no.
But you spoke it clear, like if everything was in those lyrics were.
Do I know what I'm singing when I sing Bad Bunny? Absolutely not.
No.
Doesn't matter.
But the crazy thing is, I was literally dumbfounded because I'd never heard you talk Spanish like that, minus the certain words the one-off words.
Yeah.
You know, like same
Yeah.
thing with Tagalog. There's one-off words that I know that are Tagalog that I
you know
say.
the swear words.
Yeah. And so I was like taken back by it because I was a huge fan of her. Now you kind of got into her after when the movie came out with J-Lo and all that business, right?
Yeah, we were watching Selena on Netflix the other day, and I was just thinking, like, I really have no idea how, like, I ran across that movie. I have no idea. It's not like I had a ton of Latin friends at the time. I had a handful. Like, I was young. Obviously, I don't know what year it actually came out. But I ran across it somehow and loved it, like, obsessed with it. And so I knew all the fucking lyrics. I had the CD. I memorized, like, all the fucking songs.
Yeah, now so the thing is, like, I was a fan of hers, obviously, because my mom listened to a lot of Spanish music, and you kind of got to see her come on the scene and Selena explode, and then unfortunately her passing, which to me that has to be like in the top, like I don't even want to say 5 or 10 or whatever, but top like artist passing, you know what I mean, that was taken away from us from this world so soon because she had so much fucking talent. To me, her English song "Dreaming of You" is one of my all-time favorite songs.
Yeah,
very
not that I know
well-written.
more about the history. Like back then, it was just like, oh, this is a fucking awesome movie. Like I love it. Now that I know a little bit more of the history, yeah, like what a huge loss. You know?
It's and cause I remember, yeah, like I said, my mom getting the cassettes back in the day. Speaking of floppy disks, cassettes,
Yeah.
and then CDs and stuff like that. And we used to always go to this flea market in the city, and we would always be there like every other weekend buying shit. And I remember seeing and getting her stuff there at the little CD stands. And then when she passed, like everybody obviously price gouging, doubling up the prices, and we had a lot of her records ready to begin with. But yeah, I mean that was
What
something.
year was it? What year did that movie come out? I really don't know.
She passed. She passed in around 95, and I think that movie had to come out maybe a year, 2 years later. So
Okay,
you're looking
so let's
at
just say 97 or something like
97, the
that.
latest, I think.
So 82,
This show doesn't have enough money to have a producer here
That
that
was like
pulls
maybe
that for us.
15 something, getting into high school or something like that.
Yeah, I just remember that whole thing, and obviously listening to the Spanish station and that news breaking, and it was very heartbreaking, especially to be murdered. You know what I mean? Like I said, taken away, so young, and
So young,
So
beautiful, talented.
yeah, her voice, honestly, her voice reminds me, you won't know this artist, another Spanish artist by the name of Ana Gabriel, who my mom used to listen to all the time when she would clean the house on the weekends. And they just had that soul in their voice and the Spanish singing. And, it was, like I said again, it was something that was very tragic. And, the movie was greatly done. And I remember the drama during that time that everybody knows was J-Lo playing that part. And everybody's
And
like,
you
you
know
got a
what?
Puerto Rican girl
Yeah.
playing a Mexican, but she fucking
Now
crushed
that
that
you
role.
said that, that's more than likely why I watched it, is because J Lo is in it, and I've always loved her, Jenny on the Block,
J-Lo.
J Lo, and that's that. Yeah, now that I'm thinking out loud again, that's definitely why I saw it, 100%.
Yes. Well, of course, and because she's Puerto Rican, and you got a thing for the Puerto
I
Ricans.
know, like when we were talking the other day, I was like, oh my god, like is this where it all started? Like first of
You keep
all,
finding like different
I
starting
keep
points,
finding things. Once
different
we
launching
we're
areas.
having these conversations like at random things that we usually just don't at random talk about. But we were talking about that. I was like, how did I end up watching this movie? It was because of J Lo. I know she's Puerto Rican then? I don't think so. But undercover, that was like my love is Puerto Ricans,
Something like
Latins,
in the back of your
whatever.
subconscious.
Which also started my love of Latin music. Like I love in my Spotify, my everyday when I'm in my Jeep, more than likely I'm listening to some kind of Latin music all the time. And I
That
don't
is
know
true.
what it is. I love how it sounds. I love the language. I could like even though I don't know what the song is saying, I feel like I could feel it. And there's just something about it that I really love it. I really do.
No, and then obviously I do, being having a background of being Latino. Like it's definitely in my blood, and the music is just speaks to me in a different language.
But
Not
is that weird? Like it's almost like when Martin liked K-pop for like 5 seconds. I guess that's not as weird because it's still Asian with Asian. But anyways, like we're Filipino, half Puerto Rican. But he was listening to K-pop, which is Japanese,
Korean
Korean.
K-pop. That's what the K is for.
Oh my
I
god.
believe. Wow, right. You just did your people justice.
Oh my god.
Yeah, oh my God is right.
So we're gonna circle back to that. But anyways, so so like, is it weird when you're like, you're like you don't even understand? I think of that's me. Like that's just me.
But again, to me, that's music has to me. I guess granted, if you look at the label, or how they say you look at you look at what's on the cover of the book and not what's on the outside. Obviously, if you see Latin, Latin music. You're gonna see Korean music, so on and so forth. But to me, music has no race, color, or boundary. To me, music is no matter what language it is. You could, if you feel it, you feel it. If it's good,
Yeah, it's like a feeling. But what to me it's like, what if I'm like listening to my Jeep, and sometimes on my Jeep people are like, park next to me, and they'll like start talking to me, and then maybe they hear the music and they hear it's Spanish, and then they speak Spanish to me, and I'm like, oh no, I can't speak Spanish, and I look like a total I look like a total dickbag. Like what,
But again, but it goes back to, it just has it has that universal feeling of it when it's really good. I remember when at one point when with Mars, when I was DJ for Mars, we did a whole thing with a group out of France called Enhancer. Shit was super dope, but they were like huge in France. I didn't understand the lyric. Mars's verses were
but
obviously
it
in
just
English,
sounded cool.
but it sounded cool, and you just felt it. And you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And her music, you felt. And I know right now there's a big now. The first controversy when the movie came out was J Lo being Puerto Rican playing the part of a Mexican girl, and then everybody got over it. Whatever. Now I know the next controversy right now is people are kind of mocking it. They're saying that the documentary is poor, or the series, excuse me, was poorly done. They didn't pick the right actress. The wigs are bad. I didn't mind it. I enjoyed it for the
The
fact
wigs aren't
that
bad. There's just so many of them.
well, yeah, but then you go look, and now,
Wig central.
not so, which all the memes started rolling out, making fun of it. Now there's counter memes that are coming out showing you how she looked through all those phases, and her hair was really fucking crazy. She changed it a lot.
We feel very differently about the series.
Yeah, you were all in. I mean, I was all in from the beginning. You were all in from the beginning, and then when we were
I was
in an
one who was
episode,
like, hey, it's time to binge watch Selena. But I think it's because you know a little bit more of the history, and I know J-Lo, Selena.
yeah,
And I think that's where the disconnect probably is. I think.
Honestly, like I knew the history, but I didn't even know the prehistory of when she was young, or the part where they're getting into how she was in Tejano music scene, doing all that, like her beginning. Like obviously, I started getting into her. She started crossing over, and became getting mainstream play.
Mhm.
So to me personally, the series was greatly done, and I know someone made a joke about like, oh, this puts Selena on the back burner, practices more and studies more about Los Dinos, but it's like the whole point of a series is to give you a full story. You're not just gonna be like, okay, cool, it's 92, 93, she's blowing up, 95, she's dead. No, this is giving you
No,
like the
I definitely didn't
startup.
think that was gonna happen. I expected a story for sure. I think there was just a lot there that one I didn't know about. Two, I wasn't completely connected with because I didn't know her prior to that movie. So I think there was just a lot of things that people out there are saying that there's more stuff behind it than just I
Yeah,
didn't like it.
I
It's
mean,
really
because
bad.
back then I remember her brother being, playing in the band AB Quintanilla, and then I knew him after all that. Years later, he blew up with his own band called Cumbia Kings, but I didn't realize his involvement to an extent of writing the songs and breaking everything down and
Yeah,
producing and
that was
feeling under
really interesting,
pressure.
which I don't think
I thought it
came
was cool.
across in the J Lo version,
No, not as
if I
much.
remember correctly.
Yeah, not as much. I mean, it was some involvement, obviously, because her brother's there. It's a family
But there
band, but
wasn't such emphasis on
yeah,
it.
and him and his family and him bringing in a child and then worried about how they were gonna make it and her
Yeah, definitely
sister
not.
and and this also showcased her father kept them so close. Like he was like a Latino Joe Jackson minus all the beatings and shit like that that he gave, Tito, Michael, and the rest of the Jackson Five.
Yep.
But it was, you got to see a father's love and a father's who knew their potential and he didn't want nothing to interfere with it. And I respect that. I know some comments are made like, oh, this shows how he was money hungry, blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, he knows what the end goal is in sight and he knows how any little thing
Did
could
people
deter
say
that.
that? That didn't come across
Oh,
to me.
yeah. There's people like, oh, this should showcase how
I
money
might have
hungry her
thought a lot
father
of things
was. And
about the series, but like that's definitely not one of the things that came across
I'm
to
telling
me
you,
at all.
between hopping on Reddit, between the memes on Facebook, between the
Yeah.
memes on it's ridiculous. And again, everybody's entitled to their own opinion, and everybody's
Yeah.
because that's what it is. You have your opinion. I personally feel like, is it fucking Oscar, fucking great?
Yeah. Was
No,
it gonna
but
win
it
like
gets the
40
job
awards?
done. It's a fucking Netflix special. I seen somebody compare it to like, well, this is something that belongs on Lifetime because Lifetime gets a little tacky with the series. And I can
Yeah,
see
I
that,
could
but
see that
again,
a little
we're in the
bit.
Netflix era. So the Netflix era, there's cheesy series, there's cheesy stuff.
Yeah.
I personally like it, and obviously it ended on the cliffhanger with in that part of her life where Chris, who was her husband, but
Yep.
during this time they were dating, hiding, gets kicked off the bus, and then that's where this series ends. So it leaves it open for what's gonna come, and I hope they
And
keep
maybe
filming
I'll
it.
like the next part because I was waiting for Chris. I was like, is he coming yet? Like, where is he?
Yeah, you
Where's
thought
this
Chris
dude?
was old boy that showed up from Los Bad Boys.
Wasn't him.
And you're like, oh, and even I'm not gonna lie, at first they didn't say his name yet, and I'm like, who the fuck is this? And then we're like, oh shit, it's the guy from what's that other series that we watch? On the Block is it called, or On My Block?
On my block. On my block, I think. Was
Yeah,
that him?
he
He's
was the
from On My Block? Oh, the other dude.
yeah,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
other
yeah,
dude,
yeah. The one
yeah.
with long straight hair.
With long
Yeah.
straight hair, yeah, he's the one that plays the super big gangster that's part of the Santos or whatever, which is the Latino
Yeah.
gang and On My Block. And so he was all choloed up,
Yep.
bald, tattoos, and
Yeah, I remember.
he shows up here with the long, creepy Los Bookies hair, and that shit had me fucking rolling. And again, I didn't mind it. Like I said, you got to take something for what it's worth, and I think people, like I said, just tend to look into too much shit and right away want to go online and start tearing shit down. It's like everybody take a deep breath, relax.
Yeah.
It's
you
giving you
like
something to
it,
watch
you
during the
hate
time right
it,
now.
You think it's all right. It's whatever. It's
Yeah.
whatever, know?
I mean, at the end of the day, like I said, if some people like you are like, there's, that don't know Latin, how to speak Latin or Spanish, however you want
Yep.
to say it. It teaches you how, and it does a little bilingual is what I was trying to say. It gives you a little
Yeah,
bilingual
it's a little
feel.
Spanglish.
Yeah, I
action
mean,
there.
and speaking of being a little bilingual, I mean, pretty soon, for if anybody cares, I might be speaking a little bit Italian soon because I'm getting into the barista state of mind. I got my
Oh my
Nespresso
God.
coming, and I'm gonna be doing some cappuccinos and
Why
a
are you saying
little.
cappuccino like that? I feel like Italians definitely don't say that.
And
You
you know
called me
what?
racist last episode,
With that,
and you're like going cappuccino. Like
yeah,
what?
you came in real hot with your Italian
Yeah, but
reference.
you literally just came in
L-
just as
la-
hot right
last
now.
week. No, I said I was just saying
No, you
cappuccino.
came in
I get a little
super hot.
cappuccino. You want an espresso,
I
double
don't
shot,
feel like
single
they say it like
shot,
that.
triple shot?
I don't feel
You
like they say it
know.
like that at all.
Yeah, a little bit, but hey, just
But anyways, like let's just clarify first that you didn't know the difference between coffee and espresso.
and I drink it all the fucking time.
And this was like literally 15 minutes
Well,
ago.
I knew the difference obviously when you say it. When you go to ask for it, you don't say give me a coffee with blah blah blah. You say give me a double shot
No,
espresso.
because you go to the Starbucks and you say Americano, double shot, blah blah. And you don't know.
Hold on, I don't say it. You originally pre-programmed the order on my phone,
Correct.
so I just hit submit.
So you were like Americano. Oh, it's like coffee. Nope. Nope. Espresso and water.
Yeah, and then
Double shot. What's that? Oh, espresso again.
well, and then the crazy thing is because
Cappuccino. Oh, espresso again.
yeah, and I didn't realize that. I'm in my mind like I had a
You're like,
mental
I'm
block.
getting coffee.
It's coffee, yeah, and I'm trying to recreate this because obviously we can't be going to Starbucks every fucking day, and I love my
we
coffee
can, but
fix.
then we'll be broken. No one will have Christmas presents.
No, and I mean I like my coffee with the cigar, coffee straight up. So it's like, and there's or during the midday lately, later on the day, we've been having a cup of coffee, and it's like or espresso, maybe
You need
make
to
sure I'm
drink
right.
water. You're
And
dehydrated.
there's water in that, by the way.
You're
But anyways,
dehydrated.
I'm looking and I'm like, man, I want to get this machine, and then I have like all these bags of coffee, from Janice Toback, or excuse me, Janice Coffee. He's no more Toback because he's not doing the cigars anymore. But Shad and Shay, who when I was doing the Barn Smokers, they were the ones that was doing the tobacco coffee during those show events, and I have all this grade A premium.
We have
coffee
coffee
beans.
coming out of our ass.
So
That's
I'm like,
insane.
man, but it's in the bean form. I got to break this down. So then I found the
Oh my
grinder.
God.
I get the
Got
grinder. Trying to figure out the medium, the coarse, the whatever.
Can't even open the fucking contraption.
Yeah, it's a whole fucking shit
Fucking
show. I'm
mess.
getting the grinding down. I go pick up the coffee maker with the dual setup, so you could do a single and a pot. And then I'm like figuring this out, and today I'm like, fuck. I go, man, why is this just not? I feel like something's off. Is it because sometimes I like iced coffee, so I'm like I want to do it iced, and I'm like, fuck, this is just tasting really not bitter, but it doesn't.
When's the last time you've had iced coffee? An Americano and double shot don't count because, again, that's espresso with ice.
Yeah, see, so I mean I was.
You don't even know the last time you had coffee. You fucking haven't.
It's been a while, I think.
No,
yeah.
you haven't.
It's...
Period. You haven't had iced coffee unless you got that shitty kind from Dunkin' Donuts. No
yeah,
offense.
you know what I did when I got.
No offense, American runs on Dunkin'.
I mean, honestly, when I went to Dunkin' and I got that free one, I did do it just a regular iced coffee with a caramel flavor to it.
Ugh, trash. Sugar.
I mean,
It's all sugar.
it is what it is. It hit the spot, and then for some reason, not to deter, but sometimes, Dunkin' Donuts coffee tends to make you get a little bit of bubbly guts. At least for me, all the time.
That's gross. Like literally,
Starbucks won't do that to me that much.
No one wants to hear that.
When I go run on Dunkin', like I'm literally running to the shitter.
We don't edit our pods, but this is gonna have to get edited out.
No, we're leaving that. This shit's just bold and free. I'm sure everybody's gonna be like, you know what? He's right. When I do drink Dunkin' iced coffee or iced cappuccino,
not everyone is lactose. You are. You just choose to ignore it.
I don't know, but. Anyways, I'm just saying that pretty soon, once this machine gets here, because I ordered a brand new Espresso machine, I'm pretty excited. Put the pods in there, and I was just looking at some recipes and looking at the different styles you could do, and I'm really excited and really geeked. And like I said, I'm gonna be getting my barista on. I think I might have found the third calling.
I don't think so.
I think
it's gonna be way complicated, and then you're gonna get overwhelmed. You're gonna get nervous, and then you're gonna
No, that's what I'm
shut down and
saying.
be like, fuck it, I'm
I
not doing
watched the
this.
videos. I was peeping it, and it's real simple. Like when you put the pot in and you put the
It
setting.
is. We literally had the fucking machine for the longest time, and then it finally shit out. It was an espresso maker. It had the side thing for the milk, so you could steam the milk, so you could
And
froth
again,
the milk. So
to
you could
me,
do all
it
that
was
bullshit.
a flat out, just a fucking Keurig machine with some side option that I never fucked
You
with.
just assumed it was a Keurig, so you assumed it was coffee.
Coffee, and you put the pods
But
in
it
and
was
roll
actually
out.
espresso, and that's why I got the little pods that were called Lavazza, and that's espresso.
Well, I mean, hey, you learn something every day, and I learned that by like I said, it was like an epiphany in the kitchen when I was like, well, fuck, it's espresso, and then I corrected it. Epiphany.
What?
Epiphany.
Epiphany?
Yeah, that's what I said.
Sure.
That's what I mean.
We'll just move on.
Okay, yeah. There's a couple of
We'll
words
just move along, K-pop.
that I might yeah, K-pop. You with that one. So, I mean, yeah, I'll let you guys know by next week's episode and let you know how my gig is going and if I'm gonna be, sporting an apron and making funny characters inside your drinks.
Maybe you could get a holiday job at Starbucks. I mean, we could use the extra money. Fuck it.
I don't even know if I want to work there. Those people sometimes take a beating.
Oh my God, here we go. So there goes that calling.
Well, I mean, I'm gonna open up my own thing here at the crib, set up shop, be espressos and cigars and do the damn thing. I mean, like I said, we got to be a little bit diverse. Diversifying the portfolio.
That would be wonderful. That would be wonderful to start a business like that. That would be crazy, insane. And you would have to quit your job and do a lot of things to make that happen.
Nah, you know what? My end goal is in sight, so I don't know if I'd be quitting my regular day-to-day activities for
no way.
Baristing. Is that a word? Baristing activity? Baristaing activity. So we'll see. I mean, I don't know.
Follow your dreams. Reach for the stars.
That's how it starts. Starts with a dream, and then you reach. And we'll circle back
We're
to
we're living a
and I'm
dream. Oh my
dreaming.
god.
So there you go. Look at that.
We're really living a dream right now.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean,
Oh
it's it's looking up into the skies and just
my god. This is life. This is
knowing
relationships.
there's something
This
greater
is
that's
marriage.
out there. Yeah.
Oh, speaking of marriage,
Uh-oh.
so my parents' 50th anniversary is coming up.
Why do I think it was more low key?
How fucking crazy is that? Can you even imagine being married to me? So lucky, first of all, for 50 years.
Remember,
Hot damn.
how about it's funny you mentioned 50 years. We were just talking about this with your mother-in-law. I mean, well, my mother-in-law, I should say.
With
Excuse
my
me,
mom.
with your mom, my mother-in-law, and she was mentioning I don't know how the conversation got brought up. She was something your dad was doing. She's like, yeah, and we've been together, all these years.
Hmm.
And then she's like, you know what you're in for? She goes, once you something about to the effect of, well, once you buy it, you're stuck with it or something like that. And,
Maybe I don't
and I would
remember.
make the comment, so I'm like, yeah, that's why I lease. And she got a fucking kick out of that. I was like, you never buy, you always want to lease.
She doesn't kick out of anything you say because you're stupid.
Well, she loves me. She loves me. But 50 years,
50
5-0.
years. Can you imagine? And like what the actual secret is to a long lasting like love like that? Like I don't feel like you run into that often. Like the older generations, like their age, like they've been together forever. They stay together forever. And these days, it's so easy to be like, fuck it, we're splitting up. Oh, we're going to get a divorce. Oh, on to the next marriage. You know what I mean? Like, that's crazy and totally, total goals for sure.
Well, the thing too is now you also, I mean, they're obviously because they're older. They come from a different older cut of when you got married and who you were with. That's who you settled down with the whole nine.
Yep.
But
But they also never had, they didn't have like a perfect relationship. They had like a rough start, just like kind of we all do, I would like to think.
well,
You
yeah,
know?
yeah. But I'm not discounting that at all. But what I'm just saying is that like, but from the fact of like that old school mindset where now it's like it's so easy to like back in the day in the 60s
Yeah.
70s it wasn't you didn't cut the cord so fast. But
No.
then or now you have couples that might be hitting that 50-year mark or 30, 40, 50-year mark, but they're like don't sleep in the same fucking room. They don't fucking do not. They're like just went from a marriage to just bona fide roommates to just it's
Yep.
just you know what I'm just gonna get by. This is what it is. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna get back out there in the dating scene. I'm just gonna fucking
Right.
chalk it up. One of us is gonna die. I'll
Yeah.
wait
Oh
you
my
out.
God. No way. That's not a way to live. Do I think you should force your marriage and stay together just because that's kind of what you're supposed to quote unquote do? Absolutely not. I don't think anyone deserves to live their life, whether it's 10 more years, 30 more years, whatever the case. Not happy. I think everyone deserves happiness,
Yeah,
whether that's alone with someone else, whatever.
it's unfortunate to see. And like I said, I know people personally that are like that, and it is what it is. That's their prerogative because obviously I'm not the one living that life. If that's what they want to do, cool, that's you. But it's great to come along and then see something real awesome like your folks. And I love your mom and dad to death, and they're like an extension of a mom and dad to me. And I mean,
Yep.
50 years is a big time, but
I know. It's
you get what
crazy.
you know and who you're with, and you just fucking know it. You know what I mean? And you feel like if like I said again and through our relationship, if you get through certain things and get through certain obstacles, then with that person you could always get through stuff with. Like I feel those when I had a buddy reach out to me not so long ago that was going through some things because he messaged me and he was like, hey, you and your wife are like America's couple. And I hate when people say that. Like it's cool, don't get me wrong, you want
That's
to say it.
amazing.
Yeah, you want to say it. Yeah, let me tell I don't mean like I
I'm like
hate,
America's sweetheart.
but yeah,
That's
I
what
want
they
to.
tell me. I don't know. I
I'm
don't know
not.
if it's like a thing, but I've heard.
I think you just made it a thing.
I just made a thing. It's fine.
I'm not trying to walk that one back that I hate it, like say it, but I'm just saying like if this makes sense, like I always school him like nah, like it's not all fucking rainbows and sunshine. But
Never.
and I told him I'm like the key thing is to get through things, understand each other, realize that neither one is perfect. You know what I mean? Everybody's gonna have their flaws, but it's a matter of if you're willing to understand and be with that person and get through it with them. And I
Mhm.
think some people that we know that they won't or they'll just either settle and you just can't settle. You got to be able to work things out as a collective because marriage is
Yeah.
it's a collective thing, it's
It is. It's not. A lot of people say like, "Oh, it's 50-50." Like, no, it's 100-100. Legit. If you both of you don't put in 100% to the relationship, it's not gonna be great. Let's just put it that way. And like you said, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. Like we've had our hiccups, continue to have our hiccups. Like, but at the end of the day, and I think we learned this. What's that book that we read together?
the love there.
The Love Dare, which connects to the movie Fireproof.
Yeah.
And we read it back in the day. Like, I don't even know, so long ago when we were like kind of going through some things or whatever. And we learned a lot through that. Like, listen, love is a choice. It's a choice fucking day in and day out. It's a choice when you don't want to choose that person, but you fucking do anyways. You know, when you look at that person and that day you fucking can't stand them, but you're like, I'm going to love you anyways. And that's like what love is. It's like not giving up when times get hard. And there's so many hard times.
Yeah, and again, and I think most people lose sight of that. I think they think like, well, if I'm marrying this person, it's gonna be perfect. I'm perfect. She's perfect. He's perfect. Vice versa, whatever. And that's not always the case. You know what I mean? Like I said, there's really no perfect. Like, again, everybody's different. Everybody has their different stuff. Everybody has their different things they're into.
Totally.
Again, and I can't stress this enough. And we always say it's just a matter of finding that person that's gonna have your fucking back. And like for example, everyone, like this weekend, um, there was a certain cigar that got released, and I smoked one of them. Yeah,
Famous.
and
Cookie.
yeah, and I ended up like really enjoying that cigar. The unfortunate thing now, and I'm not gonna get too into it because this is not a cigar podcast, but
But here we are.
and here we're gonna go. There's certain lines or boutiques, they call them boutique cigars, where they're limited runs. They're not as big as a big major manufacturer. And this company in particular released a certain cigar that's like 7 years aged, and they released it, and you're not gonna probably ever see it again. And I enjoyed it, and I said, "Fuck," like I'm like, man, I wish I would have bought a couple more. And you see me, I was like, man, maybe I'll go back and I'll see. But then the weekend we got caught up with activities that didn't make it.
And quite honestly, like you talk about cigars so much and ones that you like that sometimes I'm like half listening. And then it goes in one ear and out the other.
Yeah.
And even for this one, I was like, shit. I said to myself, he said something about cookies. I went to your Instagram. I couldn't find it. I'm like, fuck me. So then I went to Google because Google knows everything. And I put in like cookie cigar and all this shit came up, and then came up and I was like, that's the one. So then I called the cigar place that you go to kind of around our house. And I was literally, like, you don't know this, I was literally in your closet. Like, I shoved myself in your closet so you wouldn't hear me because you're outside watching the football game, which our master bedroom is on the first floor right by our family room. But anyway, so I didn't want him to hear me, so I shoved myself in his closet. And then I found out that they had like 10 more. So I was like, I'm going to buy fucking half of that bitch. So I come out and I'm like happy. And you're like, what's wrong with you? You look suspicious. I was like, no, nothing.
Yeah, you and your mom sometimes can't hide shit. Like, you guys just in your face.
When
I'm
it's
like,
something exciting and surprises, like
Yeah.
I'm like, I can't hold it in.
yeah, it was something. I'm like, I'm watching the game. And I'm like, at that moment, I think the Bears like started to like lose the game that they were about to win. So I was already getting into like pissed off mode.
I can tell you had a face.
Yeah, and then
it was bad.
And so after the game, you had left to go run some errands and whatnot. And then I said, fuck it. I'm like, I had to go, pick up the old coffee machine that I had to take back today.
Oh my God.
And I said, fuck it. You know what? Let me just stop over there real quick. Let me just stop in and grab my. I walk in.
I fucking knew you would too.
Yeah, and I walk in. The guy goes, "What's up, bro?" And I'm like, "Hey, what's going on, man?" He's like, "What are you here for?" I go, "Cookies," because obviously I go there a lot to pick up a lot of Drew Estate, and this is from a different company. And I was just like, I said, "Some cookies." He goes, "Oh, we're sold out, bro." And I'm like, "Fuck," like, because he had a whole bundle there Friday. So even from Friday to Sunday, a whole big ass bundle went like that.
Yep.
And people online are like fighting each other.
Yeah,
for this
when I
thing.
went to the good old Google, and I Googled it, everything was like sold out. Because I thought maybe I could find it online just in case there was no more. And I told him, like, I'm going to be there an hour. Can you just hold some for me? And he's like, I cannot do that.
Yeah, sometimes they don't do that, it is what it is. I mean,
yeah,
I
so I was
get
like,
it.
I'm going to be there.
Because they don't want to. Cigar people are just different at the shops because they think that they hold on to something and then that person doesn't commit to, they're missing out on that sale and they're trying to get that sale. And I get it. But where I was getting at with that was just like shit like that. So you ended up surprising me with it. Like, we met up and then you said, "Oh, you still down?" I'm like, "Yeah." And then you're like, "Here you go." And I was like, "Oh shit!" Like, fucking, like, I was excited. And that's the thing, like, I was super fucking excited that you did that. But it's that little notion of you doing that for me. Like, you didn't have to go in there. You never really didn't go to the shops like that. But for you to just go ahead and do that.
I've never gone in there, honestly. Like, I don't think. Have
I? No,
I
think you came by when I had an event there with Ben, and I think you might have just swung in and out because it gets too smoky for you, and you're like, yeah, fuck it, I'm out. But just like something like that, like that's so it's so small and subtle, but so meaningful, and it has such a big impact. Like it legit made me feel fucking good inside, and I was like, oh man, like that's awesome. And I remember posting it last
Yeah.
night, and people were going nuts, like she's
I
a
was
keeper.
I
Make sure
was
your wife
really
her.
excited because you had texted me and you were like, I went to the shop and there's nothing left, and you're like, the Bears lost. Now to top it off, this, like, you were just like, I'm so depressed, and inside I wanted to text you and like send you a picture of me with it, and I was like, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. He's gonna know. He's gonna know. They're not gonna know. Whatever.
They're gonna know.
They're not
They're
gonna
gonna know.
How are they gonna know?
I learned that from your
Anyways,
TikTok.
TikTok. But anyway, so I really wanted to tell you, but I just couldn't. But to me, like, another book that I'm sure a lot of people have heard of is like I think it's like the 5 love languages. And to me, like, that's one of my love languages. Is just surprising. I don't know which one it would be, but like it's like gifting. That's one of my love languages. Like I said before, I think in one of the other podcasts, it doesn't have to be like literally anything from the dollar store. It could be something else, a shirt, workout leggings. I don't know. Like, that's my love language. I feel like it just means that you're thinking about me. That's it. And I feel like you said, it's one of those little things that just lets your partner know that you think about them, that you love them, that you care about them, and you listen to them, know?
Yeah.
So.
No, and it's awesome that particular individual, I actually recommend it. That's why I remember at the top of my head, because it's been years since we read it, and I remembered it because I recommended to him whether he's going to get it or not. I don't know. He's got some things going on, and I told him, I said, hopefully you do. If you ever need anything, reach out. Like I said, I've been through my trials and tribulations, and if you want to speak, I mean, like I said, I'm no fucking Dr. Phil, but I'm willing and able to talk to you, and just some people just need that ear, that that voice.
Totally. And I do think like that Fireproof movie, I don't know where you can find it at, if it's like on an Amazon or Netflix or whatever. It's a very old movie, and it is definitely one of those kind of more corny, hallmarky ones, and it's a little like religious based or whatever, but it's very much like there's a lot of lessons I think everyone, regardless of what religion you are or not, can learn just about relationships and
it
love.
stars is it Growing Pains?
Kirk Cameron.
Yeah, from Growing Pains. If you ever watch Growing Pains, the older brother, he's the main actor in it, so you get to see that because he actually made a big turn where he's real religious and
like literally that book, that movie, like saved our marriage. That's no bullshit.
That is no bullshit, and it's something that we apply to, obviously, as you see, to this day. So if you guys get a chance, check it out. And guys, like I said, you always know that if that person's by your side and has your back, then you be there for that person. You have their back, and
you love them. Don't be an asshole.
Yeah, don't be an asshole. Like she said, times. So say a lot of things I can hear you in the back.
And on that note,
this has been episode 6. As always, we appreciate you guys tuning in and rocking with us each and every Wednesdays.
Till next time, bitches.
Man, why you had to end it like that?
I don't know. I don't know how to like not swear. I don't know how to not swear.
You just call all the listener bitches.
I'm not working on it actually. Yeah. I just love swearing. I love swearing so much. You know how like in Elf they're like, I love smiling, and I just love it so much. I'm like, I love saying fuck.
I think that was a little bit extra than called for there.
Okay. All right. Bye.
Bye guys. Take it easy. Much love.